Let's begin with understanding the requirement of ethics review before beginning a research. At one time, judgment about the ethics of health-related research with human beings was left solely in the hands of researchers themselves, guided by their own conscience and by the advice of their peers. This is no longer the case. Today, review by a competent research ethics committee, REC, also known as an Ethics Review Committee, ERC, or Institutional Review Board, IRB, is required by international and national ethical standards, guidelines, conventions, and declarations. Ethics guidance for research involving human participants has been developed and disseminated by numerous organizations and agencies at international, regional, and national levels over the past 50 years. Adherence to these guidelines helps to promote the ethical conduct of research and enhances and protects the rights and well-being of research participants and communities. A core component of all contemporary research ethics guidelines is that research should be subject to prior ethical review by a competent REC. Such review is intended to ensure that the ethical principles and practices put forward in the guidelines will be followed in the proposed research. Let's look at what ethics guidelines states about the ethics review. As per the International Ethical Guidelines for Health-Related Research involving humans of the CHELMS, known as CHELMS guidelines, Guideline 8 states that it is the responsibility of governmental authorities in charge of health-related research involving human participants to ensure that such research is reviewed ethically and scientifically by competent and independent research ethics committees and is conducted by competent research teams. Independent scientific and ethical review is critical to engender community trust in research. Guideline 23 states that all proposals to conduct health-related research involving humans must be submitted to a research ethics committee to determine whether they qualify for ethical review and to assess their ethical acceptability. Unless they qualify for an exemption from ethical review, which may depend upon the nature of the research and upon applicable law or regulations. The researcher must obtain approval or clearance from such a committee before beginning the research. The Research Ethics Committee should conduct further reviews as necessary, for example, when there are significant changes in the protocol. As per the Declaration of Helsinki, Guideline 23 states that the research protocol must be submitted for consideration, comment, guidance and approval to the concerned Research Ethics Committee before the study begins. This committee must be transparent in its functioning, must be independent of the researcher, the sponsor, and any other undue influence, and must be duly qualified. It must take into consideration the laws and regulations of the country or countries in which the research is to be performed, as well as applicable international norms and standards, but these must not be allowed to reduce or eliminate any of the protections for research subjects set forth in this declaration. The committee must have the right to monitor ongoing studies. The researcher must provide monitoring information to the committee, especially information about any serious adverse events. No amendment to the protocol may be made without consideration and approval by the committee. After the end of the study, the researcher must submit a final report to the committee containing a summary of the study's findings and conclusions. Ethics review is also essential if researchers intend to publish the results of their investigations. Most reputable medical journals will not publish research results that have not been approved by a REC. You can visit journals' requirements in the resources to learn more about these publications.